we will eventually see the rights of the people. They will come back, and through elections, and we've had one just Tuesday in Texas that, even though it was disappointing in some races, it was encouraging in others, because there are fundamental constitutional people that won elections this time around in Texas, and therefore I don't think Governor Perry is going to be able to be as dogmatic and forceful on his liberal ideas as to how he wants to run Texas. You know, he doesn't do anything for protecting the border. He confiscates our property when it comes to the Trans-Texas corridor, and he tried at one time to force our children to turn around and get shot. All those things are going to change, and they'll change one person at a time, and that will start to make differences, and we're going to see changes take place.
Absolutely, Wayne Paul. We're going to some of your calls here in a moment, but I've got a big stack of this news. We're going to cover it next hour when Bob Chapman's with us. I'm also going to break down the obvious staged event at the Pentagon and how they're coming after anyone that questions 9/11. I mean, this is serious what's coming up, so people need to definitely stay with us. But the Wall Street Journal reports the end of the Internet as we know it. Wired magazine says cybersecurity, the end of the open free Internet. That's the headline. So finally the media is paying attention to what we've broken down the last 2 months. It's now passed the House, it's in the Senate, of what's in the cybersecurity bill. People are finally reading the cybersecurity bill, so good job to the audience getting this out to the media that we've requested you to do. It's finally all over the news. Here's the Drudge Report linking to mainstream news. Big Sis Unleashed. Homeland Security Program digs into all Internet communications, tracking everything. No Fourth Amendment. Feds weigh expansion of monitoring. UK spy ships hidden in 2.5 million trash bins. Pay-as-you-throw, tracking everyone. Here's Infowars.net. This just went up. Steve Watson, it's also on PrisonPlanet.com. Former Director of National Intelligence calls for re-engineering the Internet. The world is one major cyber event away from total restriction of the web. They are now openly coming out saying they want to end free speech on the web, Wayne, because they know we're winning the battle for hearts and minds. We're waking the people up. Are you concerned about their open announcements that they want to censor the Internet?
Absolutely, because that's our basic freedom and liberty, is to be able to speak those ideas and voice our opinions. Opinions are always great. I don't have to agree with you to listen to you, but I also have to grant you the right to give me your opinion and your thoughts. I think that is a basic constitutional right that we have, and any attempt to stop that over the Internet should absolutely be 600% opposed by every human being that walks the face of the earth today.
Absolutely. I'm digging around here in my stack for that Wall Street Journal headline. I've also got Wired Magazine admitting that total censorship of the web now being set up, where the Pentagon will run every Internet distribution system, openly talking about censorship. I mean, these are very, very desperate times. Wayne, I want to go to calls and go into the different issues that they're going to raise. But while we've got you here today, talking about your brother, Congressman Ron Paul, watching him in and out of Congress in the last 30 years, first went there in the 80s for a short stint, then came back in the 90s, going from no one co-sponsoring his bills to his bills now passing the House. We've gone from maybe 1% of Americans knowing the Federal Reserve is private to some polls over 90% wanting to audit it or abolish it. It's exponentially growing. To see him get an 84% approval rating in Texas, 80+% of the vote in the Republican primary, to see constitutionalists molded in your brother's stead, mimicking what he's done as a prototype, running at the state level everywhere. I mean, this has got to be really exciting for you.
I think it is one of the most amazing things. As you know, I have four older brothers, Ron being one of them, and it's amazing to me. I've been the closest to Ron in terms of philosophy, understanding, and learning as it relates to privacy, as it relates to liberty. But it was fascinating to see the other three brothers listen to him and slowly absorb what he was saying. So even they have turned around and learned a lot over the last 2 years in terms of what Ron's been able to do. And he absolutely is a beacon of a shining light out there for other people to look at, follow, learn, and understand from. And when he started 35 years ago, he said, I want to do this for educational purposes. I don't think I'll ever make a difference, but if I can get one more people to understand, or one more person to understand what I understand, this country will be better off. And I think that's happening today.
Well, it's another testament to what one person taking action and joining with others can do. We have to have the long view of history and take our country, county, city, state, federal back and put out the truth versus the controlled corporate system and big government systems lies. And in the end, their tyranny will not stand, no matter how many police, how many black helicopters, how many cameras, how many spies, how much surveillance, false flag terror. None of it is going to hold this together. And we can see the momentum shifting against them right now. But looking at what your brother's been able to do, what you've been able to do. But I just wonder, because I'm 36 years old and I get exhausted doing 4 hours a day, working on films, reading legislation, doing other interviews. And I say no to most interviews now. I don't know how your brother at 74 years old.
That's correct.
How he, because I happen to know a lot about his schedule. I mean, the guy is working 14, 15, 16 hours a day. And I've never seen anyone as dynamic as your brother. And I just, he is absolutely possessed with liberty in a Thomas Jefferson type way, burning in the minds of men. Just briefly, what makes your brother tick?
Well, I think he's excited about the prospects of liberty. He's excited about the young people learning about liberty, and he just feels that that's where our future lies. And I give the example of a local family here that I know personally whose son graduated from high school this year, and he's 17 years old, and his thesis paper for his senior year was written on the Federal Reserve. He then had to give a talk in front of, he had to defend his thesis in front of the parents and in front of his classmates as to why he felt as he did. Now, when I was a senior in high school, I wouldn't have had a clue as to what to talk about, but here's a 17-year-old that's read more books in every book that Ron's ever printed.
And there's millions in high school learning about the New World Order and learning about liberty and freedom. That's why the globalists are so scared.
Absolutely.
In fact, I talked to Daniel Estulin, who really does have sources in Bilderberg. I even know their names off record. And he said in 2006, they were deathly afraid of Ron Paul. Then again in 2008. And they said, we may have to take him out. And I brought this up to your brother, and he knows this is a reality. Not because he had a chance to win the presidency, at least at that time frame, but because the hottest thing on campuses is anti-New World Order in the Fed, displacing the phony right-wing and phony left-wing paradigm, and that they are scared to death.